Hi, welcome to Auntie Nat's Crochet. Thank you for choosing this video. Allow me to teach you how to play with yarn. Do subscribe to my channel. The subscribe button is at this corner over here. It will mean the world to me. And do check out my other videos too. They're all as informative and fun to learn as this video. And today I'm gonna make ice cream. Gigantic ice cream like this. It'll be a lovely squishy for a young child, even for an adult. So for this particular video, it's all about this cone, this waffle cone. As for the cream, it's in the earlier post. I will share the link to the post, to that video, in the description box below. So today it's all about this cone. Now how to make this cone, I will refer you back to my waffle video, earlier post. There's a waffle video on how to make this waffle with waffle stitch, of course. And this is the waffle size. Okay, so I make it bigger like this. So here I have a 4 box by 4 box. I count by box here. You will need to do in a multiple of 3. One box is a multiple of 3, so 3 stitches, 3 stitches, 3 stitches, and you make sure you have one more extra here and one more extra here. This 2 and here. So this one I make it square. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. And now this one for a bigger square, I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. But it also depends on your yarn and your hook size. If your hook is smaller, your yarn is thinner, maybe your waffle might come out smaller. Your waffle cone might come out smaller. So it's best that you make one first and you measure and see whether it's the size that you want. But I prefer to make it a square. So now this cone, there are 2 ways of doing it. One is, this is the front, this is the back. The back is with all the, most of the double crochet. Here you can see there's a hole, kind of like a hole in between. So this is the front, this is the back. You turn to the back, you fold this down. Up to you whether you want to fold 3 rows or 4 rows. You turn it down, you make a stitch here, you make a few stitches here so that this one bounces back. And after you make a few stitches here, you fold it this way and you will have a cone. So this is what I did over here. But now the problem with this one is, because the top part here is open, it's round like this, is open up. So when I sew the cream, I want the cream to kind of like feel like it's flowing outside of the cone, kind of. So you need more cream. See, you will need more cream to make it up to this size. So now method number 2, same cone. Instead of folding it, I'm not going to fold it, I'm going to fold this side. There's one row where we did double crochet, just double crochet without front post. This is the one that, this is like our starting point, and the ending, you see there's a line here, right? So I'm going to cover this part up. So I'm going to fold this way. I make sure I cover this part. I fold it this way. I fold it this way. You make sure you do not fold this nicely like that. Fold it this way, then it looks more like a cone. You fold a bit here and you stitch it up. Stitch all the way until you have a cone. But this cone has this V shape at the back. I think I prefer this cone. It looks nicer, right? And now with this, maybe I would use less cream. Yes, and for the cream, because this hole here is kind of big, so the cream here I did a chain 80. The normal cream, if you refer to my previous ice cream, the small ice cream, the cream is only chain 50. Chain 50 is something like this, not very long, so that when you fold it, it's kind of just nice. So it makes the ice cream smaller. It's the same size cone, but because the way I sew it, I have to sew from the inside. I do not want to see the stitches outside. So when I sew from the inside, the cream kind of like flow out, which eventually makes the ice cream kind of bigger. So when the base is bigger, the top will definitely be bigger. So it kind of go up. So I need more cream. Okay, and yes, we do need stuffing. I add stuffing from here until here. Here you need stuffing as well because it's hollow inside. So now let's do the second version of the ice cream. Okay, now I'm going to do the second version of the cone. Okay, let me find that spot, because here I find that they have this line here, except here it doesn't have that line. So I'm going to cover this part. This side will be the cone, and cover it like this. So which means, okay, maybe I should work my way to this corner. Lazy to cut the yarn and tie again, so just move my way to the corner. Unless if you do not mind this line here, I do not want to see that line, so I'm moving my yarn to the other corner. This waffle stitch is very easy to do. Once you get a hang of it, it's very fast to make one, and it's very easy to master too. Doesn't really matter about all these stitches because the cream is going to cover it. Now my main aim is to move my thread to here. That's all. I'm not hiding the yarn. This one is the tail from here. The tail from here, I just hide it inwards so that it won't chuck out. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, now let's find that spot again. This is the part that I want to hide, so I make sure it's inside. And the cone, I want it to show a bit here. Oh yeah, I shouldn't hide my yarn so much, right? I mean, I need to sew the top part here. Okay, let me get this. Should be around here. So here again, I'm going to cover here which means I have to make a few stitches here. And let me get that right first. Okay, I can actually pull this to the other side when I sew. I think this should be the right spot. Okay, make one stitch here to hold it. And you can just take a look and see. Don't worry about here, because once we stitch we will pull it together. So here, I think I'm too greedy on leaving a tail. The tail is too long. Well, sometimes you might not know. I might see some holes that I need to cover. At least I have extra yarn. So this one, make sure it comes here. You just, either you use a pin or you use your finger to hold it down, to remind yourself where it should be, and the rest is easy later on. Just make sure when you stitch, you make sure it doesn't show. It doesn't show like there's lines here and there. See, it doesn't show. You hide it under the stitch like this. Like the granny square thing. And here, make one stitch. And you just take a look and see if this is the right spot. You think you like it this way, and you continue. So from here, I'll make a stitch here. I kind of pull it over to this side. And then this way it looks more natural. Because the earlier one, I follow the line, see? When I sew, I follow the, the front post line. So I sew the front post to the front post. So when it comes to this side, you will see lines like this. But here, you see the ice cream, right? So this makes it not perfect anymore. So that's why this one, I am going to sew it this way, so that it will not meet nicely. If you meet nicely, it doesn't look natural anymore. You see like, like it just came out from surgery. Oh, okay, here. I can feel the cone smaller. The other one, because the top part was quite big, so it somehow made the ice cream bigger, even though the cone is the same size. So you just make your way down like this. Okay, not too far. If it's too far, you can see the stitch. Then it's up to you whether you want to make 2 stitches or 3 stitches, 3 rounds. I think 1 round will do, because I'm just using stuffing and it's very light. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay. The stitches, you make sure it's not too far, it's close together. Then you won't notice the stitch. If it's too far gap, you can see a line going over to the other side. See, instead of stitching like this, that's what I did to the first one, the double crochet, I stitch onto this double crochet like this. So you'll come up with one line, one gap, like surgery line. So now I'm going to do it this way. So at least this line comes here, this line goes there. It looks more natural. Okay, let's see how it turns out. So now, which means I have to go in a bit, don't follow that line. Yes, you couldn't see. I love it when I'm able to hide the yarn when no one can see where I stitch. Please don't glue this. It'll make it very tough. I mean, when you add glue, one part will be hardened, right? I prefer it this way, so it's more like a squishy. So when you squeeze on it, it's the whole ice cream is soft. It's very squishy. And this is a critical part because of the tip here, to see whether I can actually make it kind of tip cone nicely. Okay. Try not to use like the same line, use somewhere from behind. So what do you think? Can you see the line so obvious? Not that obvious, right? I mean, there is a line here, but you can see like it's the cone kind of went this way instead of that straight line. Oh. Okay. And when you add stuffing, do not add too much. Do not plump it up too much because this double crochet. If you do amigurumi, it's all single crochet. Double crochet, the hole are kind of big. So if you add too much stuffing, you stuff it up, you'll be able to see the white stuffing. Unless you buy brown stuffing specifically for this project. So I do not add too much stuffing. Okay, I think this one I can use the edge. Sew the edge to the edge. So long it make it look like a tip. Have to make it pointy. Hope I can. Let's see, after this few stitches will it become, oh yes. Yes, does it look like an ice cream cone now? Okay. Now to hide the yarn, you can bring it inside of the cone. Don't put too tight because we want this tip. If you pull too tight, then there's no more ice cream tip. Okay, and this tail here, we can cut here, use this tail tied to the tail of the cream here. And when we add stuffing, this won't come off. So I'm gonna cut the yarn now, here, about here. And there we have an ice cream cone. Okay, now to assemble some cream. Okay, now to sew the cream onto the cone to form an ice cream. So this is one color. After I make the cream to and fro, I will end up here with this tail here. And you can tie a knot if you want to. This is the starting point of the foundation chain. So happen it's here, and since this cone looks like this, I'm gonna hide all this over this side. So all this join will end up the other side, I hope. Or the starting joint, because if not, it will show a bit. Not much like here, unless if you really look at it, it will show a bit. But one glance, you might not notice. Okay, so now, in order to sew it here, at least I have this to hold on to it, then I do not need to use so much cream. So this cream is with a foundation chain of 50. The other one was 80. But for a waffle, if you make small waffle, you just need 30. Chain of 30 will do. So you make one stitch here. Make sure it does not show here. You do not want the ice cream, the green part, to show over here. And just make one stitch here. Start from here. And you make one more stitch here. Kind of like hold the cream in place first before you do anything. You want to add stuffing now, you can, or before we add the last cream, you add stuffing. If you think it's hard to hold now, you add stuffing. So here, just make a few stitches. There, it holds it, and you can depend on your hand whether you're a left-hander or a right-hander. I think I will go this way. Make sure when you sew, you twist it around. If not, it will stay like this, which does not look much of a cream. But when you twist it, not so much, just twist it a bit, there it looks like a cream, right? I mean, that's how ice cream comes out anyway. Maybe if you want, you can make one more stitch just to hold it nicely, securely. Okay, let me start to go around it and make very sure it does not show over here. And trust me, when you start to sew, sometimes it does not come out the way I think it would. So twist it a bit before you start to make the next stitch, just to remind yourself. Hide this tail at the bottom, or inside, sorry. Here, because I have this, so this is like hidden inside the cone. But once you're out here, you would want the cream to be over here. So when I sew, I'm going to sew it like this. So when you turn it this way, you will see like as if this one was pulled in, and you can't see the stitches. If not, you might see lines like this. We do not want to see lines like this. Here is still okay because we can cover it later on. So now, make one more stitch. You go stitch by stitch. You can't go fast. It might go wrong. Okay, then you hold into a position that you think it's right. Pull the tail down, and you see that it's twisted a bit. Then you start to sew. Normally the first round I would make far gap stitches. It's kind of like to hold it and see if it's in the right spot. Then I'll do one more round of close up. I will check if there are holes. If in case you squeeze it and you can see holes everywhere, then you fill it up. That's why I leave a long tail, a very long tail. So this part here, we can cover it up later on. So now is to hold it in place first. Just hold it in place. Then we take a look and see. Now you see, twist one more time. Take the one from the bottom here. Now this is the part where, okay, this is the part where I will sew the other way round, this way. So I want to make sure all these stitches faces inside. So when I sew this way, I make sure it twists this way. And you see? So if I twist it this way, which means my needle would have to go through this and this. Oops, I'm gonna get tangled up too long. And just make a few rough stitches. Don't really bother about holes as I know. Just make a few rough stitches here and there. We just want to make sure the ice cream do twist. Hope it does twist nicely. You see, just now when I show you, you will feel like the cream is enough, right? But now, when I go this way, you will see the cream is just really nice. So I make 3 colors of it. If not, from here you will see like, oh my goodness, my ice cream is so flat, right? So I made 3 colors. And I'll show you later how I'm going to join the other 2 colors. So that's why I don't make too long of this, make it shorter so that you can put 3 colors. And remember here, twist again and sew. And go back to the same row. 1 stitch on the cream, 1 stitch on the ice cream cone, and now the second stitch, you make sure the ice cream twists again. The cream will twist 1 more row. Then now we're halfway through. Just take a look and see. You see there are holes there, right? That is what we're gonna repair later on. Because now I'm just making rough stitches to make sure it holds in place so that it's easier for me to stitch. So later I'm gonna find all this hole and fill it up. But lucky for me, this part here you have this, so here you don't really have to do much because you see, it doesn't really show. The only part is here, the biscuit, I mean the waffle here. So you make a few more stitch, remember to turn, remember to twist it every time, give it a twist before you start to sew. From here, from the ice cream to the cone, you don't have to twist, but from the cone you want to sew it back to the ice cream. Like from the cone now, you want to go back to the ice cream, twist it. See, by the time I twist and turn, it reaches here only. So your ice cream will look kind of flat. That's what happened here. By the time I did this, then I realized, oh, I need more cream. So I make 2 green, 2 of this color and 2 of this color to reach the top. If not, it wouldn't look nice. So with this as the borderline, maybe I use less cream. Now be careful because we have reached the back here. You do not want to see green lines here. So twist it. This is different from the other cream because the other ice cream, it does not have this back flap here. So it's all the way. Sorry if I went off screen. Okay, make sure every time you put your needle, check the back. And from here, if you do not want to touch this ice cream part too much, just make another 1 or 2 stitch here and straight away join this to this, and it will not move. Okay, check first. You can see the green part here. Don't pull too tight. Pull the needle to the bottom here. Make sure the cream did a twist and join it with the front, the starting point. So you see, it becomes like this. So here, it looks like as if it's blowing out a bit. I mean, that's how ice cream should be, right? You do not have ice cream just inside. You should have some of it outside. So now I'm going to cover up all these holes. So I'll come back to you once I have all this nicely. So make sure all these holes you cover up nicely and add stuffing. Okay, now this is nicely secured. You add some stuffing. Remember to not stuff too much or it will show, because all these holes are kind of big. It's a double crochet, so you see all these holes, it's kind of big. So you just add enough, plumb it up and make sure you do not see any of those white stuffing here. It's not gonna plumb that much. At least it looks like an ice cream cone. If you plumb up too much, then it won't look like an ice cream cone. So now we're going to do the second color. The second cream, I'm going to do white. I mean, the color is up to you, it's optional. You can even do one green all the way. But even if you want to do just one color, I would suggest maybe you do it into 3 of this size and sew it up instead of a long one, because in the end we will not know how much cream you would need, because as I said, when we sew it might not be what you think. So now here, same thing, I'm gonna hide this part inside here if possible. Hide all this inside. Let's sew onto the green part instead of the cone. Let this part stick to the green part here instead. Like just now, we're going to make a few rough stitches. Okay. You can just sew about anywhere here on the green part because it's going to be covered up. So it doesn't really matter, no fixed rule. And once you see it comes this way, twist it a bit before it's not, wait, let me do a few more stitches. Hold it first. Hold it down properly before it can twist. Okay, now it's holding nicely. You can twist it this way or that way, it doesn't really matter. Now you can see the stuffing. Or you want, you can remove some of the stuffing first. We will add more later when we are about to close up. Okay, let's do one more stitch here. Make this tie to this. So that it holds properly. So long there's something that's holding to it, then we can see the pattern. We can see how it twists. If it's not twisting right, then we can twist it more. So here are just some few rough stitches. You can still see the hole here. I'm just making a few rough stitches. I just want to know how I should twist it. Twist it like this. Just grab any yarn here. Then we will take a look and see if everything is okay. Now as for this second layer, you have to make sure it doesn't go so much to the side. It goes, what I mean is, does not come this white. Do not follow the green part. Do not follow this green part and become this white. Go narrow a bit. Narrow it down to like this. And the tip now have another color. So if you can, make it like this. So that's why I make a few rough stitches first. Then at least this is holding it and it's not going anywhere. And then you can shape it. Twist it a bit and make sure it stays this way. So once it stays this way, it's hard to put a pin on it. So what I do is I will hold on to it and make a few rough stitches, like maybe here, so at least I know this is the part. So when you stitch, you make sure you don't stitch those outside here, stitch all inside here, so that we are pulling it more towards the inside to make this more narrow. And don't forget, I still need another color to come and pop it up to make it go higher. If not, this ice cream will still look a bit flat on the side. See, to me it still look quite flat, so we would need another one. So here, come to this side, twist it and stitch. Make a few rough stitches and see how it goes, and make sure you have a lot left. When you reach this tip here, make sure you still have a lot more left, and you can fold it inwards here. And before you sew, add stuffing to plump it up. Plump up more on the top than the bottom. Leave the bottom like this. So long it feels kind of squishy, it's alright. So I'll come back to you and show you how I'm going to sew the third color on the top part. Remember to sew on the inside and only use the green part. Use the green part. There. Okay, I've done this. Make sure the tip goes inwards, more to the inside. So seal it inside. So here you see like a hole. Plump it up. Remember, do not push the filling down. Don't plump this side up. Just plump this part. And just leave it like this, so that it has something to support the third color. Now it looks like this. Do share your version of your ice cream in the comment section once you're done with yours. I would love to see how yours look like. So now the third color, I will try and hide this. I'm not sure if I can. Let me see. And this looks appropriate. Anyway, in actual ice cream, it doesn't, I mean, once you squeeze the ice cream out, it has to stop somewhere, right? Okay, I'll just continue from here. So make a few stitch. Just remember, do not push this too far down. Just leave it up here. Okay, and make sure you don't see any fillings, any stuffing. And when you sew, make sure you pull it on to the inside, because we're gonna make it narrow, not on the outside. If not, it will become wider and wider. Now it's supposed to be more and more narrow, and then the tip of the ice cream. So here, just make a stitch, doesn't matter where it is, just to hold it, just to hold the yarn down. Okay. Then let's see how we're gonna sew this part here to make it kind of like stick to this side instead of it kind of open up to the other side. Let's see if this works. That should do, I think. Make one stitch here on the inside. Okay, maybe I should make one more stitch here to pull this side in. And you see, once you sew this, it's kind of like go inwards. Okay, make one stitch here, goes inside, and take a look and see. And I think I should be able to hide it later on. This part here, don't leave it like this. Later we will try and make a few stitches to kind of hide it inside. So now, like just now, we will just make a stitch from the bottom here. Oops, sorry. Make one stitch here and make sure this is twisted. Twist. If you twist the first one to the right, always twist to the right. If you're twisting it to the left, you twist every single strand to the left. At least it looks more consistent. Okay, make one more stitch down here, the furthest possible. And then just to hold it, because you can still see holes here. Sorry, you can still see holes here. Okay, I'm just making a few stitches to see if everything is okay. Once everything is okay, I will hold it down and really stitch nearer. Now I'm just stitching very far away. And remember to twist it and go to the furthest lowest point you can ever get. Leave this here. Maybe you might need to tie a knot. Always remember to twist it. Actually, the last color, the critical part, is the tip of the ice cream. Whether you manage to make it look like, you know how the ice cream, there's a tip on top, a sharp tip. Let's see if I can get that right. Okay, I've made a few stitches. Let's see if everything is okay. It looks okay to me. It looks like it's going inwards, right? So it looks like it's going inwards, so I'm fine. And the tip should be something like this. You know how ice cream is supposed to have a tip on top here? Maybe add more stuffing to make it hold it up. Sometimes there's no fixed rule to this, because as when you sew, it might sway one side or it might go crooked. So I'm not sure. Just try your best. Looks like it narrowed down, and I have space for this tip here. You make sure you have a tip here like this. A small one will do, and you can add a bit more stuffing to push this up. So I'll come back to you once I have this nicely fastened. Okay, I have this tip here. I'm not sure if this even look right. Well, that's how the tip, you know, sometimes when you're sewing you just get carried away. So when I sew the tip here, I make sure this hand I hold it down. I want it this shape. You hold it down and you start to make a few stitches here and there. Then you check and see if you have holes. If you do, cover it up, and if not, then just let it be. Then it will stay this way. So this is how my ice cream looks like. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to my channel. There'll be more desserts coming your way. Looking forward to see you in my next post.